Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your 12th Walker Season 4 episode review. First of all, I do apologize for this being a little bit later than normal. Personal things to do. Again, nothing I can do. I will do my absolute best to be as close to the series finale release as I can be. Again, the powers they may be. Ironically, I'm very thankful I don't have CW on my TV provider now because, here's the gosh darn it thing. Literally, many months ago, I booked a concert for that Wednesday night. So I would have been in a very difficult position where I'm still bummed that I won't be able to see the Walker finale live with the fans. But but when I do catch it on the next day, I will still be very much bittersweet for what it may be. But we're not quite there yet. We're not ready to shed the waterworks yet. We still got, this is the penultimate episode of the series. This is mostly, in a way, the finale to the overall arching storyline of Season 4. Next week will not only just be the epilogue to that, as well as, wrapping everything to a close. It will be an extended finale by 3 minutes. So I don't know what the heck they're going to fit into 3 minutes, but you know what? I'll take a victory's a victory. I'll take it as may be. But with this episode, I think again, I'll have some thoughts to say when we talk about the Season 4 as an entirety in a couple weeks, but I will say that they've made some pretty interesting choices this season, with just how they managed to spread everything out. I feel like this episode did the best it could on the villain front, and as well as the same time with just as much as I'll have some critiques about the villain front, I will say that the delivery, the performance, the certain sequences we got to see in this episode, I think were really top notch that managed to make up for it. Where this is one of those rare occasions where the villain may not have been the best in terms of just the actual longevity of it, let's say that much, but I will give kudos that the rest of the cast were able to kind of raise it up the bar, just basing it on the actuality of how things ended up being. But I want to talk more about it, so let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Walker. So we begin right where we left off last week. Cordell's awake. He's kind of retaken back into his environment. They hear Cassie screaming. Trey goes after her. They find, obviously, by that point, they now he sees Luna's body. That's when Cordell and James tries to get out of the woods, but they also conveniently meet up with Cassie and Trey as they all look at Luna's body. Walker being obviously dumbfounded the fact that he's gone, and Cassie's just a whole bag of emotions right now with just hatred and loss, sadness, just so many, just seeing what was in front of her, leaving only James and Trey to go after the jackal who has escaped in the area. So they look around, they're trying to find him. Thankfully, they do run into someone that we presume to be the jackal, which it is. I don't know why I say presume. It is the jackal. They fire on him, and honestly, I was actually kind of scared this was gonna be okay, one of them's gonna knock him out with just a graze of the shoulder. He's gonna get knocked out. They're gonna get the disadvantage and get him. That's how it's gonna end. But no, actually no. They actually go in for a James gets knocked down first with a gunshot to the vest, so he needs a second to get back up. And Trey has a one-on-one with Jackal, which honestly, I'm pretty sure we've probably seen other choreographed in the show. I'm just blanking on them right now. But this was really well done. Despite Trey being an Army vet, the Jackal was holding himself pretty well to Trey. So it was actually touch and go there for a second. If it not was for the promo kind of spoiling, not Trey's going to survive this fight. It's not that simplistic. I was kind of James was okay. Before I jump ahead to the next point. Sadly, Trey does get pinned down by the jackal, but thankfully James manages to get back up and hold the bullet first at his head, which allows them to finally arrest the jackal once and for all. And I will give credit that technically it was James that led to the final arrest of the jackal. I would have found it a little bit more sweeter had it be James participating in the final fight. And I do understand, okay, I get the choice there, but I'm it would have been cooler to say that, that James was the one really obsessed with this, that he should be the one to really take him down, as we presume to be. So he's arrested, and we then get a little bit of a time. I say time jump Larry loosely. We get a couple hours later. Cordell's in the hospital, resting up. Everyone's there to greet him, welcome him back to the land of the living. Thankfully, he's gonna make a full recovery. The antidote that they put in him managed to slow down any of the effects of the poison that he was administered. And everyone kind of wants to talk about the elephant in the room, he went off on his own. He could have died again. It's like a yearly occurrence for them. It's like, how many times does Cordell have to die, or almost have to die? It's just like, can the man literally just stay put for a year and just be calm and collected? I'm not quite sure about that. Yeah, so from there, the doctor comes in. He dismisses the whole family, so he wants to run a few more tests before letting Cordell go home for the night. He pulls back Stella a little bit just to kind of have a conversation about her, about the whole necklace incident. And the way Cordell was about to start framing that conversation kind of wasn't doing himself service for him and Stella, as Stella's like, well, I was just doing the exact same way you would have done it. And obviously Cordell's trying to be the whole dad role here. We're like, I'm the ranger, you're a teen. And so now I'm an adult. Well, technically, I don't remember we saw about your 20th birthday yet, but technically you're still a teenager to an extent. But okay, if we're gonna get really into specifics, okay, I'll stop myself there. But yeah, so they don't really have a good way to really pursue that conversation further. Stella just leaves the room and lets Cordell rest a little longer. The family is greeted by James in the waiting room. Obviously, they're thankful that James once again managed to save Cordell's ass again, which I'm just like, I feel like by this point James is just always getting him out of these precarious situations. And even though that James is clear to go back home and everything, especially with his wife, he does want to stay there and be there for Cassie, who out of everyone right now is the one who probably lost the most, which again, line of duty. And I say that without any remorse. I do apologize, but they had a very whirlwind romance. It was like a Romeo and Juliet story to the extent of how fast they developed their relationship pretty quickly. But I actually did feel kindred connection to them, so it does impact a little bit, so I will give them credit on that front. Then we have we jump to the next day. Cordell, once again ignoring doctor's orders, decides to go into work because they have the jackal now. They can finally interrogate him and get the real answers they've been waiting for. And obviously Jerry's gonna call him out on his bullshit. What are you doing? You were literally advised to be on bed rest. And it's Cordell. He's kind of semi-honest now. He's like, yeah, I'm obsessed with the jackal. I know I was tasked to do this case. I need to finish it. We have him, but that doesn't mean we need a confession. We need more evidence to pin him for the murders. There's just so much more that we have yet to do that I can't just sit by idly right now. Which I'm like, dude, the hard work is over. Just let them finish it off. Take it to the finish line. And even Jerry again, Colton being I think the right partner for Cordell, really calling him out on his bullshit right now. And there was some tension between them. I got scared that they were going to bring up the B word, but thankfully they didn't. They were going to, calm down. Jerry lets Cordell go off to do his thing. Cordell's like, okay, well, we could talk about this when I come back home for dinner. And she's like, maybe. Maybe's a maybe. Meanwhile, back at Jerry's real house, Cassie's just slowly going through the stages of, yeah, Luna's gone. He's not here right now. She's panting around. She looks at his sweater, getting a last whiff of him, calling his phone to get the voice message, just to hear his voice again. And honestly, I completely forgot the actress's last name. I want to say it's Ashley Reyes. If I do apologize if I made a mistake with the last name, but this is her episode. She really ups her performance for this week. And again, she had a lot of material to play with. A lot. It's not, the fact that her life was kind of finally lining up. She found the man. She might have gotten the lieutenant job. She got a great family upstate, and she has a found family here with the Walkers. That it was gonna go good, and now this kind of derails everything. And how do you really bounce back for that? Like she's in so much different stages of her mental self right now, considering the fact she's angry at the Jackal, but at the same time she's also angry at Walker, who in a way led to all of this. So, and if it wasn't for, well, again, it's a double edged sword. If it wasn't for Walker doing this, they wouldn't have found the Jackal. But at the same time, if he didn't do it, they wouldn't have him. So it's basically just like, again, like it's one of those we don't know what could have been type of situations. Really, it had the other way gone around. So they all meet up at Texas HQ. They're all ready to go about the whole, the plan for today is to get the confession from the Jackal. They have the daughter who they're going to try and get like something out of her, and also at the same time trying to really get the Jackal to confess. That's really all they're trying to do today. That they're a little hopeful that the Jackal will confess, because it seems like he's the showboaty type. So hopefully that will be enough to kind of get the ball rolling to get him to talk and actually put an end to this case once and for all. Again, tensions are high. Trey's just in the middle, like just kind of like in between. Like, yeah, I understand what's going on. It's just these two right here are on polar opposite of the planet right now. So Cordell just really wants to get in that room with the Jackal, really iron out whatever the heck is going on with this entire matter. Why is he doing this? The whole MO type thing, like the real, like, deep dive. Cassie's in the middle. Like, she wants the Jackal to pay, but at the same time, Cordell was just not in her favor right now. She, like, they said they do not shy away from that. She is not happy at Cordell right now. She's probably pissed off at him. We get to the interview room, finally seeing the Jackal in face. They said his name. I already forgot. I'm just gonna keep calling him the Jackal for the rest of the episode review. I can't remember much right now. Again, like top to bottom, before I get even further, I think the actor who portrayed the Jackal did a really good job portraying, kind of sadly, a one episode villain. Again, he was spread throughout, kind of giving the mythos of the serial killer. And he kind of plays it pretty well, that serial killer mentality, where like he still feels like he's in control. He still feels like, yeah, I'm not the Jackal. I'm just an innocent hunter. Yeah, I don't have a permit. You can get me on that, but can you really tie me to the murder of this detective? Can you really tie me to the murder of any of these people? You could try. So yeah, and honestly, I really do like the banter between him and with James and Cordell. I think that was really well done. To kind of like still play the cat and mouse. I would have liked a little bit more from James, but again, I think that's just speaking to the volumes of like how mature and responsible James is now. Like now that he's got the mental clarity of like who finally moving on from the obsession, while Cordell's kind of still reeling in from it. That again, the fact that the guy that's been haunting them for 6 years is finally right in front of them, and it's two completely different reactions. And Cordell's kind of having flashbacks to when he was back in the dream world, and kind of like some things are kind of finally starting to click in a little bit about like what really happened in the other side of things. The Jackal, however, is wanting to play. He wants to play dirty. He really wants to get in there. He really wants to like get some more jabs into Cordell, even though like he's still arrested and everything, by kind of taunting him, like, hey, you know what, while you were spending all that time on that case, you missed August's big ceremony. You missed that. Why did you miss it? You're his dad. You should be there. And like was hunting down the Jackal really worth it? And I'm just like, this is the type of thing, like, again, like, it's kind of unfortunate just like the way Walker is designed, the way that this is kind of like can't really like play too fast and loose with the whole serial killer concept, especially if you want to spend more time with them. You risk the audience kind of like figuring it out too early, not really getting that really big gut moment. But at the same time, if you do the reverse, like even getting the performance here where like it's pretty well done, I would have liked more of that. I would have wanted more interaction between like kind of like a cat and mouse type of thing, but we just don't get much of that. We just really don't. Cordell tries to take it in. He tries to rein it in. He does explode a little bit at him, and he has to walk out of the room. James goes after him, and Cordell says, "Oh, that was a little bit like I'm just like trying to get him to make certain that he thinks he's in control, that he's winning. Like I gotta sell that mentality to him." And James is like, "Oh, okay, I see what it means there." And then Cordell tells him that another thing that he's been noticing is that slowly, like fragments of when he was in the dream world is kind of coming back to him, but like in a new perspective. He thinks that certain parts of the dream were actually how things were on the other side, just kind of like being translated through the dream world via the characters that we know and love. So like scenes where like Hoyt and Sadie are looking at Cordell in the casket might have a different meaning now, but we don't. We'll get back to more of that a little bit later. Cassie and Trey interview the daughter. She says, "I barely talk to the man. We've been kind of distant for a while, just maybe a couple conversations on a phone there and then, but honestly, there's been really to no interaction on that front." And they let her go. They're just like, okay, let us know if you have like any new information for us. We'll be open to anything. And that's when kind of like things kind of like, get reversal, where Cassie is very much directly honest to Cordell, saying that, yeah, I'm mad at you. It's your fault. Luna is dead because you chose to ignore my advice. You chose not to stand down. You chose not to start, another thing without proper consent. You did all this. Because of this, Luna is dead. We have the Jackal, yes, but at what cost? And, she makes that very known to him, that she's not happy with him. So that's another thing Cordell's going to have to deal with right now with his own partner. We cut back open we had a brief aside with Bonham and Abby, who are like moving over a plant to a different part of the ranch to preserve its life and everything. They have a quick moment about the whole retirement issue thing, and they kind of square some things away, kind of being reminded again how short life is, how it's unplanned or anything, and Abby admits that, yeah, I should have been more open to finding some middle ground with you. And Bonham does admit, like, yeah, I could have had a better reaction to just, seeing you trying to start a whole new side business with Ben, that didn't really ring the way that it should have been. And the two are, we don't have to retire now. We could definitely take some step backs. But, that boat idea could still work in, like, the nearby lake, which I'm just like, yay, budget friendly. Like, we don't have to go all the way to another country. That was funny to see. I don't think we get any other scenes with anyone else. I think that was the only aside scene. Then we jump back to the main storyline. Cordell's kind of like at his desk, just kind of pondering what more he could do now. And even Trey's like, trying to ask him how he's doing. Is there anything he can like think of right now? And he does, tell him his working theory that like everything was kind of lucid in a way. Like, his dream world was like, it still felt real, but the certain weird lines, the certain moments that kind of felt out of place with the narrative they were kind of stretching in that dream world were kind of probably like the outside forces. But the problem is that if, let's say, Hoyt for a moment was technically the Jackal, who was the second person, like, it wouldn't make sense in the lucidity for like the one guy to play both characters. So there might be a completely different person there as well. And they started to play with the fact that maybe he didn't work alone. So there might be someone else that might be still out there that could be an accomplice of the Jackal. And then at the same time, Cassie comes in with the DNA results because Luna smartly scratched he scratched the skin of the person who killed him during the struggle. And thankfully, smart thinking on his part that now they're able to ID the individual, and it's only a 50% match to the current Jackal. Meaning that, okay, what's 50%? How could that be 50%? Which means a child, his daughter. His daughter was the accomplice, and that's when Cordell starts to put it together that when we get to that scene I mentioned with Hoyt and Sadie looking at Cordell in the casket, it was actually his daughter, the Jackal's daughter. So now they realize, shit, we had her here, and now she's gone. So now they got to go find her. They got to really up the game. They got to get her before she gets away. And flees the state and everything. They go back to the Jackal, trying to pivot to him to try to get him to confess. He's just like, no, I don't know. I barely talked to my daughter. I don't know what you're talking about. And they're just basically bold enough for them. Listen, we got the DNA. We're going to convict her. And now she's a wanted woman. So right now, officers all across Texas, they will not hesitate to fire against her. There is a possibility she might die. But if you tell us where she might go, we can guarantee her safety if you allow us to go get her. And thankfully for some hard-hitting facts, like, the Jackal's not a dumb man. He's cold and calculated, but he's also smart. So he's like, And at the same time, he's also a father too. So I'm like, yeah. So he's not gonna like definitely like just give up his whole daughter just to like maintain immunity or stuff like that. And he's like, okay, fine. I'll tell you, but she better be brought back here alive. No exceptions. And he does admit, like, yes, there was a go bag at their house ready to go in case the law enforcement got close to them. And however, after the last scare, after the last time they went dark, they moved it again to his daughter's workplace, which is where she should be right now if the information is correct. So they all head over there. They got all mobilized, all armored up, ready to go. Only one thing: Cassie ain't here. She just left. Which they're like, shit, she probably found the information, she probably overheard everything, and she's now going to get the head start to go kill her. Which I'm just like, great. This is just what we need today. So they immediately dash to the workplace facility. They look inside. She's already the daughter's already there, kind of getting the go back ready. Cassie already finds her first. She starts shooting at her. They briefly engage in a gunfight, but however, the daughter decides to escape and get away while Cassie's pursuing her on foot. Everyone's just trying to split up and trying to like corner them to get them secure and everything. However, they're just Cassie and the daughter are so up high on the top floor, while like for example Cordell's on the bottom floor. So how do you get up there without wasting time? However, during the chase scene, the daughter slips and she goes over the railing, but however she still catches herself before she falls, and now Cassie, in a life or death predicament with this woman, is that if she doesn't help her, she will die and she will get revenge. But at the same time, it will compromise her mental judgment. But if she saves her, she will be technically saving the woman who killed her her boyfriend. So it's kind of like sadly this would be for other people an easy decision. This is not the case right here. So Cordell's trying to talk her out of it, trying to get her to see reason that it's not her fault really. It's on me. Don't blame her. And the daughter ain't doing herself any favors as well. Even Cassie asks her point blank, why did you kill him? And she just doesn't give an inch. She's just like, please, I'm falling. Which I'm like, motherfucker, you're just a very unlikable character right now. And, briefly Cassie decides to save her. But once she sees the scratch marks on her arm from Luna, she kind of lets her fall again, but, still keeping her hanging. And everyone's just trying to get her to see reason to kind of understand this is not what you need to do. You need to stop this. You need to sadly put your best foot forward, suck it up sadly, and put her to justice. And that's thankfully what she does to pull her back up, and Trey manages to arrest her, even though Cassie's just very much mentally torn that this was not the plan. This was not how it should have gone, but she thankfully made the right decision at the end of the day. We cut open back to Ranger HQ. I want to say that they hold a press conference. They announce the Jackals have been arrested. They announce the names and everything. They do sadly announce that Luna did die during the altercation to get the Jackal. However, smartly enough, James focuses mainly on despite this is a victory, that it's over, the nightmare is over, the Jackals will never haunt us again. That, hey, there are dozens of victims out there whose families may have gotten a little bit of closure, but at the end of the day, they lost their loved ones. They're never going to get them back. Sure, it's a victory that this man is forever behind bars, but at the cost of so many people have to lose their lives before they can get them. And, that's what we should be focusing on first, to preserve life and to focus and to remember those that, are sadly no longer here with us. And there's a pretty poignant moment when James returns to his office. He puts up his hat. He sits on the chair. He's looking at the final case review for the Jackal. He takes the pictures of the Jackal and his daughter to put in his book, as well as Luna's picture to bookend it, indicating for him that is a true closing of the book. The darkest period of his life is finally over. In a way, it's been forgiven. It's closed. And he puts it away in his drawer, locks it away, and that's the end. And yeah, so I thought the way they style it, it's no lines, no delivery, no cutscenes, no anything. It's literally just him, his facial emotions, and that's really all we needed. It just sells. It just sells like hotcakes. Um, I want to say we cut back to Cassie's at her desk. Cordell tries to get her to talk, and while Cassie is briefly open to talk, she's like, "Yeah, but not today. Absolutely not today. That's the one thing I can tell you right now. We are not discussing anything today. We will maybe tomorrow. So thankfully there might be some room to patch things up, but right now that's just not the day. It isn't. Then I want to say, I think that's a wrap on that. We do get a scene where Cassie's already back at her house. Jerry comes to visit her, and she kind of consolidates her, telling her like, "Yeah, I've been where you were when I lost Hoyt. It fucking sucks." But the difference is that, unlike last time where Jerry was kind of alone the whole time, now Cassie has Jerry to lean on. And it's really sweet. It really is, I will say that, wasn't kind of a convenient pairing for them. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, it's still sweet. It's still friends being out there for each other. So it was a really nice earned scene for them. Cordell heads back home. August and Stella just passed on the couch. He briefly tries to get on there to kind of just spend some time with them, and Stella wakes up. And again, sweet that Stella oh, we have chili in the fridge. You want to get a bite to eat? And Cordell's like they want to talk about it too, and can we just talk about this tomorrow? And I'm just like, damn, you. Y'all want to talk tomorrow. No one wants to talk today. Like, what if I want to talk today? And I'm just like, okay, I understand. There's a right moment to everything, No sense to rush it. And they just... Stella leans into Cordell's arm, and Cordell just embraces his daughter while he's just, enjoying this little tiny family moment before it goes to black. And that was it for this week's episode of Walker. Which, again, I love the performances. I think everyone did a top-notch job. Fight scenes were great. There was just the right pacing was used here. I will admit that the Jackal development was kind of like, okay, if there was a loss in the end of the game, it was that, I would have loved to see more of that. I do understand when you're setting up a serial killer, it's kind of hard really to balance out, introducing them, but at the same time not introducing them. I think they did a little too far in the latter where we just got nothing, and we ended up really just kind of seeing the person as is, and then for the one episode, and most likely we won't see him again next week, which again, I think it was serviceable, the performance. I think focusing a little bit too much on the daughter was, I think, to raise the stakes, to really elevate the conflict a little bit more. But again, when it comes to TV, I would expect a little bit more from the villain side of things, considering the fact we have a longer runtime. But Salavi, you can't get it all right, to be honest with you. I'm honestly just really concerned how they're going to wrap everything up next week. I know it wasn't the plan. I can definitely see some things were going to be saved over for season 5, but now we're not getting season 5. But thankfully they pivoted this to close out everything. How will they do it? I am not 100% sure. I am very surprised, and I can't wait to see how they're going to land the ship. But for the timing for this episode, I think this does a very nice job closing off the Jackal storyline, ending off the last major storyline for season 4. And now next we're going to focus on the ending and seeing how it all comes to an end. So for now, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed it so much. Let me know in the comments down below, what did you think of this week's episode of Walker? I would love to hear thoughts down below, as always. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the 2 from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the final season of Walker. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the 2 besides our Walker episode reviews, we're just doing Walker. We will be back next week for the series finale review. I will not be wearing a suit. It is too damn hot in New York to be doing that. Especially in my own household. I do not want to take a shower again until the next day. And then after that, you'll get your season 4 review the following week, probably before 4th of July. I make no promises on that. And that will be a wrap on Walker. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Please also like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring that bell and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.